Hi, I'm Valerie Steffen, and I'd like to welcome you to your new workspace. We're inviting you to get more out of your MLS by learning about what's to come in our new look and feel that's coming to Bright's site. We're going to help you check out what's new, which in its essence is a more personalized experience where we hope you'll find it easier to get around and you'll see a fresh new look. I'd like to start just by reassuring you that most of what you're going to see today is a new look, a new feel, but the functionality that you're accustomed to is all still in place within Bright's new site. So let me allay any concerns that you might have. I know sometimes folks are a little uncomfortable with change, but again, what you're going to see hopefully is a more streamlined user experience. So during today's session, I'm going to give you a tour of new.brightmls.com, which is the beta site where you can see and offer your feedback on the changes that are coming to brightmls.com. And just to give you a feeling of the timeline for those changes, back in December, we invited a small beta group to start using new.brightmls.com. They gave us some feedback. We've made a few tweaks. And then in the beginning of January, we invited the larger subscribership to Bright to start using the beta site as well. And the folks who've been using it have been great about offering their feedback, and we've continued to make some tweaks and changes based on that. And we're in the home stretch at this point, where on February 2nd, what you see at new.brightmls.com is going to migrate over to brightmls.com. So all these changes on the beta site are just going to, on the back end, translate over to brightmls.com. So if you haven't had a chance to visit the beta site, you're going to see it here today. We'll take a look at what you see before you log in, and then, of course, what you see after you log in. And that's called Workspace. And that's just simply the term for what you may call your dashboard or the home page that you see after you log into the system. We'll take a tour of the menu, and throughout today's presentation, I'm going to interweave the questions that we've been receiving through feedback, the things we're hearing most often. So hopefully if you came in with questions today, we'll get those answered for you. So let's take a look. What you see when you first go to new.brightmls.com is the screen in front of you. You'll see informational links, sort of the top news articles and information that are available currently, and you'll see a menu towards the top right-hand corner of the screen. Many of the items that you see featured here are also in existence at brightmls.com. A couple that I want to pause and highlight, though, have to do with some of the feedback that we've been receiving. We do receive ongoing questions on topics that we won't have time to broach during today's session, just with the time constraints that we have. But I want to make sure you know where to go to get those questions answered. And two of the important areas that you'll see up here are support, which is in the topmost section of the screen. And when you click on support, you'll see there are several different options to getting your questions answered. There's an option to access our online help center. There's information on how to contact our support center staff, whether you prefer to call in toll-free, to email our support team, or there's even a live chat option as well. Now, if you choose to, you can go to our online help center, and that's simply support.brightmls.com, and that's the same support center that you can access for online help and instructions at brightmls.com right now. And in fact, if you prefer, you can bookmark that page and come back to it. And there's several different ways you can access information here. In the bar where it says ask a question, you can type in your question or a keyword and it'll bring back related support topics and information. And you'll notice in the right-hand column, there's a section for trending articles that'll update based on what you're looking at or what you typed in to show you related sort of popular or trending topics that are getting a lot of hits or interest right now. And one of the things I want to mention is this is a place where you can go to access videos, step-by-step instructions. We also have what we call on-demand classes. So we did have some questions with regard to, hey, I'm a new agent. Where can I go for new agent training that's conducive to where I am in my learning process? That I can access anytime, and the on-demand classes are a great option for that. We also had questions about entering listings and how to use CMAs. What about Remind Pro? Any of those topics you could enter and get instructions. And another question we had was with regard to how to get printed instructions, and that's something that you can do from within the online help center as well. Now, another area of interest here, right sort of catty-cornered underneath support, is the training option. So if you would like live training, there are a lot of different training options available to you as you scroll down the page. We do have live coaching options. Every area within Bright's territory has a customer success coach assigned to them. And you can click on the link that says View Team to see who that individual is. We also during this time are often offering what we're calling office hours or booth hours. So that's a live coach standing by where you can enter a virtual training and ask your questions to a live person. And when we're in the system, I'll point out the banner that displays when we have some of those folks standing by for you. We also have the on-demand library that I mentioned before, so if there's a particular topic or class you're interested in, you can take a look at that. And we have the option for upcoming live training. So where it says register today, we'll take you to a page where you can view what your options are. And of course, we have our youtube.com/Bright MLS link here. That's a library of hundreds of tutorial videos on short how-tos on how to use various tools within the system, benefits of using them, lots of good stuff. That's also the location that I will post a recording of today's session as well. So this is all things that you can get to and that you could also get to from the current brightmls.com. Something that's new to this page that I want to point out is the section that says Markets We Serve. So initially when you click on this page, it's going to show you an overview of all the markets that Bright currently serves. So all the different states and the District of Columbia that you see under the left-hand column that says All Markets. And it is going to show you a monthly snapshot for the last completed month, which for now is December 2020. It's letting you know the total number of agents that belong to Bright, the number of homes listed, the number of homes sold, and the total amount of real estate sold. If you would like to drill down into one of the specific markets instead of seeing the complete overview, you can just click on your desired market from that left-hand column. And when I saw this initially, I thought immediately this has great application in your individual branding. If you want to show or highlight, say you're a listing agent, how listing with you as a subscriber to Bright will give your potential client exposure to 101,000 plus other agents in the community. Now, if you scroll down a little further, you'll see some additional information, and another new section is called Market Pulse. And if you click on the link that says View Activity, that's going to give you some additional insight, again, gathered on a monthly basis, on a little more detail on the home sale process. Everything from the for sale sign to the for sale side to the sold side. How many buyers are actively working with agents, how many showings are requested, how many open houses held, how many homes are coming on the market for the month of December, and the average list price, versus if you scroll down, what the average days on market was for homes that sold, how many homes went under contract, and what the average sale price was. So again, great information to help you stay on top of the marketplace and to have top of mind when you're doing your marketing or maybe speaking with potential clients or clients. Now, you'll notice that the login in the top right-hand corner kind of followed us throughout all the different locations that we went through so far. When you're ready to log in, you can click on it, and you'll come to a screen that looks very much like the login screen that you use from brightmls.com. And in fact, you'll use your same login name or ID number and password that you use in the full site. And just as a point, be aware that if you prefer what you see at new.brightmls.com, we've had some questions about, can I just start using this? Do I have to go to brightmls.com, or can I go to new.brightmls.com and then just go on with my work? And if your preference is to use this, you absolutely can. And just be aware that any updates or changes that you make here, say to a hot sheet or to your market watch or a concierge, of course will be reflected in brightmls.com as well. Now, what you see here has all of the information populated from your account as well. So if you do have hot sheets set up, or you have saved searches, your listings, all of those things are reflected here. And there's nothing that you need to do as far as converting that information on February 2nd when everything migrates over to brightmls.com. It is going to be seamless. All of those things are going to be reflected for you automatically. And we did have the question, how does this impact appraisers? It's the same regardless of what type of subscriber you are, whether you're a broker or an agent or an appraiser. The site changes are going to impact everyone. So let's take a look at the screen that you're seeing after you log into the system. Now, one of the points that I mentioned initially was that personalization is one of the goals and one of the reasons for making this and ongoing changes that you'll see throughout the year. We want this to be really custom to you as an individual. So what you're seeing on the screen in front of you is reflective of the test site that I'm using, or the example that I'm using here, but it might not be exactly what you see. And that's because your account is and situation is specific to you. So for instance, you might not have any alerts and notifications, which is the very first box or widget at the top of the page. The sample I'm using here has several different listings that have notices or alerts on them. If you don't have any of those items, then you won't see that widget at all. And again, whatever you have customized in Bright itself will be reflected here. So that'll be different for everyone. Something else you may notice as you look at this page is that help and support is built right into the page. So when you initially come in, you are going to get a pop-up that invites you to take a quick tour or a complete video overview of what's changed within new.brightmls.com. If you'd like to take a minute and go ahead and take that tour or video overview, you certainly can. You just click on the appropriate link. And at the end of that tour overview, it'll prompt you to give some feedback. We're really interested in what you like, what you'd maybe like to see done a little differently. And we've been really pleased that so many subscribers have taken the time to do that. And that's prompted some tweaks and changes throughout the site. You may see a few more before we head over to our February 2nd conversion date. If you don't have the time to do that right now, you can just use the X in the top right corner of the pop-up to close it. And I'll just point out that there is an option to take a tour or give feedback right from the menu at the top of the page if you'd prefer to do that later. You can always return to that individual area. I'll also point out the little eye or information icons that are in each of the widgets. You'll also see those items in the search menu or the different menus across the top of the page. And those are designed to give you guides and help right where and when you need them. So if you click on one, it'll open a pop-up again, and often these have embedded videos where you can watch a little tutorial on how to use that section or what's involved. They also have a short description or definition and a link to learn more, which will take you to our online support. When you're done, you can click the close button or click on the gray X to close that little guide or pop-up. Now let's zoom in and talk a little more about the individual items on the page. So we mentioned at the very top, there's an alerts and notifications section. So alerts and notifications, pretty descriptive title, is just letting you know if you have any listing notices. So things like listings about to expire or set to close or past the expected close date, so that you have the option to review those items by clicking on the review button. You may also see if you have a compliance notice, there'll be an option to go review that. Or if you have a bill, you'll have an option to go and take a look or pay that item. Looking at the other widgets on the page, you'll have a listing activity widget if you have listings in specific statuses, if you are the listing or co-listing agent for those individual listings. Again, you'll only see that if you have those items. If you don't, then instead you'll see a series of helpful links that'll take you to our online support and give you instructions and a little bit more information on how to use those various items should the need arise. But if you do have the items, you can simply click on the individual button or status in order to go and take a look at those, say, 3 coming soon listings. You also have an option to quickly access your hit counters. And we did have some questions about hit counters. If you've never seen that or heard that phrase before, a hit counter is simply an indicator of how many hits or what activity your active listings are getting. So how many times are they being emailed? How many times they're being seen in a full report? If clients are receiving those or viewing them in the client portal, are they setting them as favorites or possibilities? So that's existing functionality. Again, if you want a little bit more information, notice that there is an eye icon on that widget. When you're in the system, you can click on that and get a little more help and information. You'll also have a link on that widget to go to listing management if you would like to kind of view or make an edit to any of those listings. Right beside that widget is the Market Watch widget. That again has the eye for additional information. It has drop downs where you can change the property type or the time frame for the information that's displaying. If you would like to view an individual, the status that's indicated there, like the 441 coming soon listings, you can click on that individual item to see them. I'll also point out in the top right-hand corner, there is a link to manage. So again, we've gotten questions from folks who maybe didn't use that existing functionality in Bright MLS about what they can do there. And simply, if you click on the manage, it's going to take you in so you can adjust the criteria that's included. You'll see here the default criteria is no criteria at all, which means it's tracking everything across the entire Bright footprint. So you can simply customize this if you'd prefer to narrow the view of what it's displaying. So maybe limit it to the specific counties that you work in, or MLS area or school district. Just make sure you hit save before you leave the page in order to update it. Underneath Market Watch, we have Concierge. And again, we've gotten questions from folks who maybe aren't familiar with the functionality of Concierge as it exists in Bright MLS, but I assure you it's there today. So this is just sort of highlighting it directly to your page. If you do have auto emails that are set up with the Concierge setting on, and all that setting does is, instead of directing matches right to your clients, instead the Concierge feature will send the notification of those new or changed listings to you, so that you can either approve them and send them on to the client, or reject them to remove them from your matches list. So this widget is going to show you if you have listings that are matches, so that you can go through and approve those or reject them at your convenience. To do so, you could click on View Client to view, say, Patty Smith's 2 matching listings. This will show up to 10 Concierge. If you click on Show All, take you to a page where you can see all of the options. If you haven't seen it previously, the Concierge is just simply the option within saving your auto email that says Enable Concierge Mode. That's all there is to it. To the left, we have your hot sheets. And hot sheets, you can have up to 10 saved hot sheets. Once again, we have the Manage button that we saw from Market Watch. So if you'd like to edit or add or delete a hot sheet, you'll go to Manage to do it. Otherwise, if you'd like to update the time frame that's being used, you can use the drop down for that. Or you can click on the individual hot sheet to view the results. Notice the corresponding view link there. Now, taking a look at the far right side of the workspace, this is where you'll find your news. And you have 3 tabs that are located in here. You have your Bright News, which is the news and articles that are coming from Bright, which includes things like enhancements, market stat updates, products and features in the system. Right next to that, you have your Office tab. If your broker or office manager likes to upload articles or information for you, this will again be personalized and customized to you as an individual. The same as your Association tab. If the association that you're affiliated with likes to upload news, articles, or updates for you, you'll have access to the information there under that individual item. Let's take a look at the menu. And what I want to point out first is at the very top of the page, you'll notice there's a banner that says, join a live learning session on the new brightmls.com now. And that's what I mentioned earlier when I referenced our customer success coaches. They are regularly holding live sort of office hours. So if you'd like to go to a virtual meeting with them and have your questions answered, that is available as an option for you as well. You can just click on the banner at the top and get the option to join a session. But back to our search menu here. You'll notice that the menu options are pretty similar to what you see in brightmls.com. We've just organized some of the information that's in here a little bit differently than you may have been previously accustomed to. You'll notice the font is a little different. The icons are a little bit different. We did have a couple questions about things like HomeSnap Pro, which is the app where you can access Bright information, and Remind Pro, which is a search and prospecting tool. All of those additional resources are included with your subscription to Bright. So if you would like more information on them, you can click on those individual items to learn more. You'll notice the I for information icons are included on this page as well. So if you want a little more detail, like what does it mean when it says create your own, you can open a guide directly in that section. And for the folks that, again, were asking, what about my custom form that I've already created? Or what about my saved search? Again, just to reassure you, those items are, again, migrating seamlessly. So nothing you need to do there. That's going to be taken care of. And other folks who asked about, what about my permissions that are already set up? I'm a member of a team. Is anything going to change there? Nope, that's not part of this enhancement. Again, this is an ongoing process. We are in a state of continuous improvement. So if there are things that you would like to see change, again, remember that feedback link that I showed you earlier. That's a great place to report your requests or what you might like to see done differently. We have gotten a couple questions about items that have shifted slightly. One of them is saved searches. You'll notice that that lives under the More Searches option. Another is the address search. Moving on here from our search menu, we also have our clients menu. And if you have not been in to new.brightmls.com recently, maybe you were in initially or earlier in the month, one of the requests we received was a call out for carts and saved searches. So I just want to point out that we have responded to that request that came in through feedback. Another menu item I want to mention is your login name in the top right-hand corner. And again, you have access to your accountant settings, your billing, the ability to upload a headshot, all of that same functionality that we saw before. It's just changed its appearance slightly. So again, reassurance that all of that good stuff is still in here. Another thing I want to point out is that the support item, which in brightmls.com is usually by the login name, that is shifted over slightly. It's still up here in your top level of your menu, and it again still includes all the same functionality that you're accustomed to. Something else that I want to mention, because we've gotten some feedback on it as well, is that the site is responsive. And what that means very simply is that you can use brightmls.com, new.brightmls.com from whatever your preferred device is. So if you need to access it from your phone or your tablet or a desktop or laptop, those are all options that you can use. Please just be aware that the page will change based on the size of the screen that you're using, or even if you've sort of minimized your screen so that it's taking up less space. So you may see things like your login name changes to just initials, or if there's not room for the entire menu across the top to appear, you may see 3 horizontal lines in the left-hand side of the screen or in the right-hand side of the screen. If you click on those items, they'll expand so that you still have access to all the features and functionality. The screen is just trying to optimize for the size of screen that you're using. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time today to take this tour with me. I hope that I answered the questions that you came in with. If you have not had the opportunity to do so, I would strongly encourage you to log in to new.brightmls.com before February 2nd. Take a tour and please give us your feedback. Thank you again for your time and have a bright day.